Hello, hello, hello.
What's
All
up,
right,
coach?
everybody. How's it going?
Hi.
Good. Get everyone logged. We'll get everyone in here real quick. And thank you all for those of you that have your cameras on. I appreciate that. That's awesome. I'm excited for our special guest today. This is going to be amazing. So let me do a little quick introduction. For those of you who don't know my buddy Patrick. So Patrick Legenzoff is out here in Phoenix, Arizona, also known as the Sober Investor. Man, I love that background, Patrick. That's amazing. And so he's a member in my REI mastermind, also known as the Go Giver. So we have a lot of people in there. And Patrick got started in real estate several years ago, but he's really passionate about helping those folks in recovery, and has learned to kind of marry his passion with real estate. And I'm really excited to have him on here. He's going to be sharing with us how he's using rental arbitrage to rent properties out, make profits on stuff he doesn't even own, but most importantly, really help people in the recovery and through that. So Patrick, I just want to say thanks so much for jumping on here, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me on here.
Appreciate you taking your time out of your day, and we'll have a few people kind of keep popping in here as we're going, and I'll let them in. But why don't you just give us a little bit about your background, if you don't mind, and tell us how you got started in real estate.
So yeah, my background, man, broken home, high school dropout, drug addict at the age of 11. And I stayed that way until I was about 23, caught some felonies here and there, and I wanted to do something better with my life. And I started, I got sober. I started AA, got sober, and that started my entrepreneurship journey. My mom owned one of the largest sober livings in Phoenix. That got my head spinning, kind of rolling in that direction. And I wanted to get in real estate because I didn't want to have to depend on anybody to tell me what a good deal was, what a good area was, and that I'd be able to buy some of these properties on my own. But my main goal out of this was to do sober livings and give back to the community.
Wow. So your mom actually started it before you?
She was a manager of
Okay.
a large one locally, but she's the one who opened my eyes up to AA, opened up my eyes that there was something else out there. And she was also a manager of this facility. It was a 43-bed facility. They only had 2 employees, and they were charging like $165 per bed. And this property, they bought it a long time ago. The property they had bought for like $800,000. It was a 9-unit multifamily. And so it was paid off. So this thing was making nothing but profit, and it was netting over 500,000
Wow.
on this one property. And that just really sparked my interest. It was giving back to the community, helping out, and it was also a good investment.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So so your mom was managing one, and then how did you start acquiring these, or what was your kind of journey into the real estate stuff?
Funny thing, man, it was all God. I was bartending before I had my real estate license, but with me being a 3-time felon, it wasn't as easy as going to get my license. I had to get my record set aside. And while doing that, I was still bartending, serving tables. One day I went to go to bartend at a mansion. And as I'm setting up my bar, I see a cornhole game, and it has like a little house and some letters on it. I look up the company, and it was Stunning Homes Realty, and the guy who owned it was Steve Trang. And the guy who was my contact at this party was Steve Trang. And he pretty much said, you hit a gold mine. The largest investors in the country and realtors and everything will be here tonight. And I got to talk with him, and my record finally got set aside, got my license. I hung it with Steve Trang. I tried the whole wholesaling thing. And while I'm doing that, I'm calling for sale by owners and seeing if anybody would be willing to let me do these sober livings. And I must have called close to 50 people, got turned down at every road I turned. And I think I found a deal in the wholesaling thing. I sent out a text blast. I think I have this deal. Somebody within my brokerage said, hey, reach out to this guy. I send him this deal. Don't know who this guy is. An hour later, I'm still serving tables. And this guy walks in with a dozen roses, bouquet of roses. And I'm like, why does he look familiar? And I go back, look at my phone, and it was the guy who I just sent that deal to. So I paid the server $20. I was like, let me wait on this guy. He said yes. And I pitched him the idea. I told him what I was doing and what I wanted to do. And he was like, maybe. And by the end of the night, that gentleman was actually Zach Keeps. It was his mom's birthday. I got to sing happy birthday to his mom. And he told me, meet me here tomorrow with a cashier's check and I'll give you an opportunity. And I had to borrow the money to get that first sober living, but I got my first sober living of February of 2020. And by August of 2020, I had 10 of them.
Holy smokes. By the way, you and Zach are still friends, right? And still rent properties from him and stuff like that too?
He was just, I'm going live on TikTok and he just tried to FaceTime me. I had to press the red X. Sorry, Zach, if you're out there. But Zach is my business mentor. He's one of my best friends today. And at one point, I think I was arbitraging 30 of his properties.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, tell us a little bit about this now. How does this work? And so you're renting these homes, you don't even own them?
In the beginning, my whole model was the arbitrage, trying to find people that were willing to rent to me at market rate and do my business in them. So I tried to look for 5 bedrooms for the sober livings and I put 10 beds in them. I give one of the rooms to a manager and he lives there rent free and he takes care of the house, collects the money for me. And I charge $175 a week for the sober livings. And we stay pretty consistent, pretty full. We're about 80% occupancy. So
wow.
we're netting anywhere from 1,000 to 4,000 on some of these properties.
That's great. That's awesome. What all do you have to provide for these properties?
I try to do it different, man. There's some slumlords, some bad guys out there that get a 3-bedroom house and put 2 bunk beds in each room, 3 bunk beds. And I wanted to be better than everybody else and provide something better. So all of Zach's houses are remodels, and some of my other investors, they completely remodel their houses. So they're really nice houses. I provide all brand new beds, dressers, and I provide amenities. I'm also the president and founder of a nonprofit. And we have a close connection with St. Mary's Food Bank. So I'm able to provide food to some of these houses. We provide like the soaps, the toilet papers and all of that. But we also help these guys. If a lot of guys come to me on a thing called promise to pay, and it sounds like exactly what it is. It's people promising to pay. These guys lived on the streets, just got out of detox and they have no money. And that's where I was. Somebody gave me an opportunity. So I like to give these same guys the same opportunity. About 60% of those guys actually catch up on their rent and pay back. But we help these guys get interview close, help them with their resumes, help them get jobs.
Wow.
And we want to see these guys succeed. We want to see them succeed more than we want to see their money. So as long as you put the client first and put their needs before anything, everything else is going to come.
What you just said is one of the things that has always kind of rung true with the theme of altruism, thinking about how to help the others first, and then the money will kind of follow. I mean, we're all capitalists. We all like to make money, but I think there's something about figuring a way to find a way to serve people and help people. And I could tell that's something you're very, very passionate about. So.
So again, with some of these arbitrages, I don't like confusing people, but it may get confusing. So I had the sober living homes. I had those 10 sober living homes, and a company was sending me people and they were actually paying. So I wasn't having to chase the person. The company was paying me for their people. And I approached this company and they were only able to grow based on how many beds were like available. So sometimes they had to turn away people and stuff like that. So I approached them and I pretty much said, hey, what if I gave you a house that had 10 beds? And so now you know that you can take on 10 more clients and you can put them in my houses. I could provide transportation, blah, 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 blah. How does that sound? They said it sounds amazing. And I came up with a number of 10,000 per property and they agreed to it. And they took on they wanted 5 properties. So at that point, I'm making 50,000 off this one contract. And that's what really put me in a place to be able to grow some of the other businesses.
Wow, this is amazing. But what I like is you're figuring out ways to not just be a typical landlord, right? Yeah.
There's a lot of creative stuff out there, man. And a lot of people think they need to go buy a house or do all of these things, but there's some easy ways to entry creatively and do those things.
So a lot of these are just fixed leases that you sign like a long-term lease typically, or how long of a?
I don't like doing long-term. I like doing a year just to play it safe. Yeah. But Zach, when he gets a house that's 5 bedrooms or more, he contacts me, or if he can make it into a 5-bedroom, we walk the house. And if he caters to my needs and he's putting up extra walls and putting in a bathroom or doing stuff like that, then he's like, yeah, you're going to sign a 2-year or a 3-year on this one. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I try to do 1 year. I know people that are landlords that are owning these houses would like longer leases. Me personally, I do own properties now, and I try to get the longer leases myself. So
wow. So now you kind of got this business established. You kind of know what to do. But like, let's say someone's just starting out. They don't know where to even start. Maybe they have a couple rental properties that may fit, like where they can turn it into some sort of sober living. What do you think they should do first, and like where should they start? And then like, is there licensing involved? Where do they find the clients and that type of stuff?
So there is licensing involved. So in this and I only could speak for Arizona because that's the only thing that I have experience with. When you want to do over between 6 and 10 people, if you go over that 5 mark, you have to get the city zoning approval, make sure there's a spacing requirement. All group homes, they're all under one umbrella. So kids homes, assisted living homes, sober living homes, behavioral health homes, they're all under one umbrella. And for instance, the city of Phoenix, you could have 5 within a quarter mile, but the city of Peoria, you could only have 1 within a mile. Wow. I've gotten close to 100 addresses to different cities and been turned down for over 100 of them. So you get the city zoning approval, and then you have to go to the Department of Health Services to do their inspection as well. A lot of people try to fly under the radar. A lot of people get away with it. But if the Department of Health Services catches wind of it, you can be fined up to $1,000 a day from your first warning to when they actually prove it. $1,000 a day. I had a home where a family was living, and I wasn't running a sober living, and they tried to say I was. I won it in court, but I got a letter in the mail that they were suing me for $121,000 for 121 days.
Wow! I hope that got taken care of or settled.
It was, I was able to prove that a family that was related was in there. So there is all of those requirements. And then once you get those, if you want to start one, you want to get, I told you I put a house manager. I usually put them in the smallest room. You want to get a house manager that is in AA, that's going to meetings, that is active within the community to be able to promote you out there and to be able to help fill up these houses. And a good place to look for these guys is to look up like a sober livings in your area and start contacting the managers at some of these houses in this community. Just like real estate, they want to see you do better. So you call them up. Hey, do you have a candidate that you think would be good as a house manager?
Oh, wow.
And that's where I got all my managers to begin with. Now I have I hire within the company.
Wow. And
then
they kind of help recruit for you too, to help fill up the place.
they
and collect
help
the rent?
recruit. You can make it a requirement that they have to post 3 times a day about the sober
Oh.
living. They go to meetings. They usually have bulletin boards at meetings. You can post the little pull tabs or post your phone number. And me, I'm still in AA. I just last night, I went to a rehab facility. I told them my story, my testimony. I still speak at AA meetings. I'm still sponsoring guys. I'm still heavily involved in that arena.
That's amazing. I think that's something that probably, if it's helped you, it's a great way to kind of give back. But it's also, I think, from friends of mine, and maybe you can speak to this, but it kind of helps, right? To have the right sponsor, to have someone that even you can lean on, even if you've been sober for a long time.
I've been sober 9 years. I just recently got a new sponsor, and it meant a lot of changes happened. It's a new perspective, a new way to do things. And I started doing my steps again and re-looking, because I've been sober for so long, and it's just taking a look, and it's a lifelong journey. So
Yeah. That's amazing. Do you mind if I open it up for the folks on here?
I do have one more thing that I'm doing with the rental arbitrage. And this is where the mind-blowing one usually comes here.
Oh, I love this.
For those individuals that are actually looking into it, you could take this a step further. They're called behavioral health homes. And this
I'm glad you're jumping into this. This is I remember you're talking about this. This is the I'm just gonna warn everyone, take some notes, because this is where you can really make a good income, right? If you're able to kind of wait out a little bit of time.
So this one, behavioral health homes, there's a little bit more red tape that goes into it. I actually have a commercial space, and the people that I consult for and people who come to me, I recommend them getting a commercial space, and you could do the supportive housing with it. You do need a therapist for this, to hire a therapist, and you have to get the commercial spot licensed, and the therapist has to be an independent therapist. But once you do that, it takes about anywhere from 2 to 6 months, depending on the government. And I guess they're taking Fridays off now, but whatever. So once you do all of that, my commercial location with the therapist, we have child therapists, we have adult therapists, family therapists. We provide one-on-one services, group therapy, art therapy, music therapy, all the therapies that you can think of. And once you do that, you're able to, for the services that you provided, you're able to bill in their insurance. And you're able to provide supportive housing. They give you a portion of the housing, but what you make on the therapy itself at the IOP level is enough to take care of everybody. And what we're able to do right now for the services that we're providing, you can bill anywhere from $200 to $1,500 a day per person. And in the commercial side of things, my wife worked for a company. I haven't gotten to the commercial side of things, but the company she was working for, they had private chefs, they had masseuse, they had personal trainers, they had a helicopter pad on the roof type thing. But private insurance, they were billing anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 per day per person for the services that they were providing.
Wow. So this is amazing. Now, this is a very unique niche, but really the idea behind this is, first, you just find a place you can rent that gives you the right to sublease, and then you can sublease to other tenants. You started this how many years ago?
2000. I've been in the business now for about 6 years, but to do it on my own, my first sober
Yeah.
living, I started in 2020. At the end of 2020 is when I started the insurance thing.
Wow. Wow. And then how would you mind sharing a little bit on numbers with us? Like if you're comfortable with that, like can this be enough where you don't have to flip houses anymore? You don't have to work a full-time job. You can do this full-time.
I mean, I can give you the number. So in my first year, so we started this in 2020 in November, but my first solid year, 2021, we went from 2 houses, 2 employees to over 60 employees, 30 houses, and we grossed 19 million in our first year. And if you can only imagine, if it's enough, I don't know what is enough for
That's a big number right there.
but if you have, let's say, you don't have to put 10 people in a house, you could have 5 people. If you're providing the certain services, let's say you're billing 800 a day for 5 people, 5 days a week, I mean, you're doing okay.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So like a sober living home, do you have a vehicle for each house, or do you have a vehicle between a few homes, or how do they do the
sober
transportation?
living? I have the sober living, that's all self-pay, that all comes at cash out of their pocket.
Okay.
And then I have the behavioral health homes where, yes, we have vehicles, we provide anything and everything. The sober living are all guys doing their own thing. They're working a program. They have their own jobs. They can come and go as they please. There is a curfew. They have to do certain chores and do certain things to stay there. But those guys have their own vehicles, bus passes,
Oh.
bikes, whatever it is. The behavioral health homes, we have vehicles for every single house. We take them to and from facilities. We take them grocery shopping. We take them to do fun things on the weekends, bowling, going to Flagstaff. We've taken them to California. But we try to go above and beyond.
So the behavioral health, that's full time. They're not like leaving for work or doing any of that stuff, right?
There is some out there. There is a company out there that's doing amazing things where they're just an IOP company. They don't provide any of the housing. They only have the commercial setting, and they just provide the services. They get that same amount of money, and then they get the client gets to go home and go do their job and do their things. A lot of times IOP, which stands for intensive outpatient programming, they get to it's court ordered, or they have to do a part of their programming. Like after the rehab, they have to go to IOP, but they can stay where they want to and do those things.
Wow, that's the number you just hit. You said 19
in our first year, and we almost doubled that in 2022.
Wow, my mind's blown right now. That's a big number.
Sorry, can you repeat the number? I just started listening recently, so thank you.
I did 19 million in my first year, and then almost doubled that in the second.
And how many houses? Sorry, I'm late, but I am interested.
We had 30 houses that were behavioral health. We had over 100 clients.
That's amazing. That's
Awesome.
amazing. This is some amazing stuff. Well, let me open it up if you don't mind, Patrick. I'm sure that other folks have some questions, because this is probably something they have never thought of. I know I was talking to one of our friends in the Go Giver, Jay, and he's looking to do something with like assisted living homes, but this is all kind of in that same, you said you still have to go through the same health services to get the permit and stuff like that. So similar type of stuff. It's just a different clientele, I'm sure. So
yes.
let me open up for some questions. Who has some questions? Go ahead, Sam. Oh, go ahead, Travis.
I was just gonna ask, like, can you speak to the sober living house differently than the other one? Because I got confused. So when you said 19 million, you're talking about the behavioral?
behavioral, because we are, and it takes some time. So you have to get licensed, you have the commercial spot, but then you also have to put in application to the insurance companies, and you have to be approved by the insurance companies. So once you're approved by a few of the insurance companies, you can now reach out to those insurance companies and they can send you clients, or you can do your own marketing to get clients. But this is all billing their insurance companies for the services that were provided. And the sober living is all guys paying out of their own pocket. Their mom might be paying for them. They might not pay. I have right now at one of my houses, I have a guy that's like 600 behind, 500 behind, 400 behind. And I'm trying to help these guys get jobs. But the 19 million was a lot of employees, a lot of overhead, and a lot of house. It was a lot that went into being able to get to that level.
Do you have a preference of style, or like, do you feel like the behavioral health is the way to go now compared to the sober living, or do they both like have their place? Or
me, I like to be a full 360. I like to be fully integrated, and I want to be able to hit these guys at every step of their journey. So right now we have clinics where we have detoxes, clinics where they can come get their medicine. We have detoxes where they can come in and detox. And then we have the inpatient facilities. Then we have the outpatient facilities. And then we have the sober livings. And so we can touch them at any part of their journey. And then my real estate license hasn't come in handy yet, but I'm hoping they buy a house after the sober living.
I saw Sam had his hand up. Did someone else have a question? Sorry.
Yeah, I got a question.
Good. Sam, and then Jennifer, if that's okay.
Oh, I'm good. Actually, Patrick already answered the question pretty much. Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead, Jennifer, go for it.
So your history comes from that industry as far as the sober living and all that kind of stuff. So you have connections, you've got the doctors in place, you've got all these things to be able to do each of these steps, because that in itself is a whole network of people that.
The sober living thing, again, it's an easy way of entry. I didn't need anybody but myself. I just needed to find a manager and find people to live in the house. When it came to the behavioral health side, man, it wasn't as opening as the real estate world. I reached out to a lot of good friends that were already doing it, and they pretty much gave me a tap on the butt and said, you'll find your way. So that lit a fire under my butt to figure out how to do this on my own. And I did all of the studying. I got all of the licensing done myself, and made sure to do it. And then I just started networking with people, and me being in AA, there's a lot of people working within the industry. So I'm just like, hey, do you know somebody? Hey, do you know somebody? And then I start reaching out. I'm looking on Indeed, looking on Facebook groups to see if there's any LPCs or LISACs or anything that were available and wanted to work. What I found with starting my first behavioral health company, there's therapists out there that are willing to work part-time while you're getting the licensing going and all of that stuff. But it was just me hitting those phones, hitting up my network, hitting up people, and asking the questions, even though I didn't know a lot of the answers. It was just like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And trying to failing and correcting it and pivoting and doing it until I got it right.
So first good step is probably going into the sober living homes and then starting to get the licensing and moving into the behavioral health if you can weather that storm.
It depends on where you're at in your journey. I mean, I would definitely say that the behavioral health thing is well worth it. But depending on what your financials look like, because that therapist and a commercial property, you're signing a 3-year contract. You're putting the deposit down, you're furnishing everything, you're getting it ready for licensing. You have the therapist on your payroll. So you're spending anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 to get that started. And a lot of people don't have that up front. Some might. And the sober living thing, I think I paid Zach $5,000 for a deposit. And then we went to Goodwill. We Goodwilled the heck out of that first house
Yes.
and got all used stuff and did what we could. Family Dollar stores, and Goodwill furnished the entire first house.
Yeah.
And so The link that you have going into that though, with the detox center and all that, did you just partner with someone to start with to get like that? Or you just went straight to the sober living and then eventually started the other part yourself?
I did the sober living by myself, and then somebody came to me wanting to do a women's sober living, and I had no interest in doing women's sober living because women are crazy. No, I'm just kidding. But the lady who came to me, I was like, if that's what you want to do, I'll show you how to do it. Let's partner. Let's do that. And she had worked at some of the largest companies in Arizona, and she had the same passion to find out how to do this insurance and do the IOP and rehab better than all the other companies out there. So we partnered together, and she reached out to her network. I reached out to my network, but then we were outsourcing a lot of people, and we would lose them. If you think you have a good partnership with these people, you send your person to detox, but sometimes that person doesn't come back. They send them to somewhere else, or something happens in the meantime, in between time. So we, instead of referring them out, we were like, why don't we just open one? The business partner I had at the time, me and her both don't know how to say no. If there was a client and we needed a house, we were going to get a house, we were going to open a house. We just kept going. And so we wanted, again, to be vertically integrated and be able to do the whole 360 and see this individual in every part. So we just hit the ground running and did as much research as possible, and kind of figured it out by looking at the Department of Health Services websites and looking at different forms online, and reaching out to the people that were doing it.
Do you think it'd be profitable to start out with houses that you find and maybe get the sublease to market to some of the larger companies? Like, I have a connection that way.
So what I'm doing currently as well in the sublease area, me, because I have a large network, I'm in real estate and have all of the houses, everybody's hitting me up for houses. And I didn't want to turn down some of these houses. So currently, I just did this in the past few months. I sublet a house. One is in Mesa. It's a 5-bedroom house. I completely furnished it. I put a movie theater in it. I put a pool table. It has a pool in the backyard, and completely furnished it. Really nice. And then I started marketing it to some of the larger companies, and I found a company that was willing to rent that out from me for $8,000 a month. And then I did it again in Peoria for $7,000 a month. And so yeah, there is an opportunity.
So they're doing all the back end work, right? You just found the property, leased it with the right to sublease it, furnished it, and then they do all the fulfillment on that side then.
Exactly. At that point, I'm just a landlord, and in my contracts, I write in a bunch of extra stuff like, it's your responsibility to fix everything, your responsibility to make sure you have all the right licenses and insurances. And so, yeah, I've done that 3 times in the past couple of months because I had some houses just sitting, and it's a lot less work.
Oh man, I love that idea. That's the way I like. I'm a lazy guy, so I like.
So just to confirm though, you do have to have that zoning and everything already prepared before you could sublease it to the sober living companies.
So I have a connection with some of the people in the city of zoning. I call them, ask them if the address is qualified for it. And then, but you can't put in the application because then they want your name and your company. They want it I want it in their name and their company. But some of the rehabs and IOP programs, some of the private insurances, they don't want to put a bunch of people in it. And if you have 5 people or less, you don't need city zoning.
Gotcha.
So 5 people or less, no city zoning needed. 6 or more, you do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I see, Jay, you have your hand up. You want to ask your question?
What's going on, Pat?
What's going on? Oh, hey,
we saw you at the. I was talking to you at the group today. So, how many are you arbitraging all of them, or do you own some of them?
I mean, in my whole model for the first 2 years, I was arbitraging everything. It was just less risk, less money up front, and it was a huge return. So, I mean, everybody I told about it, Brandon and all these people, they're like, "You're doing what?" And I was just like, "Okay, I'm going to stick to this model." And it was a good return. But now being an investor, I had some capital and I wanted to purchase some of these properties. I wanted to own some of these properties. So now I own, including my personal, I own 11 properties.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Is there anything that you're looking for, Patrick? Like, because, with the group that I have here, a lot of them are investors and stuff like that too. Is there a particular properties you're looking for? Is there particular personnel? Because I'm sure that with what you're doing and the volume you're doing, you probably need some really good team members and staff. What is something that Patrick's looking for? If the universe could wave their magic wand and help you out, what would that be?
There's 2 positions. And again, we teach this. I'm a visionary. I have yet in this 3 years on this crazy journey, I've not found my integrator. I would love an integrator that can build me up, get the systems and processes correct. My weaknesses are system, processes, and organization. It's all in my head and I know how to do these things, but if somebody were to come to me and say, "Hey, do you have a program? Can you lay it out for me?" I don't have it on paper. I just have it all in my head. I'm trying to work on that. And an assistant. I had an assistant. She was doing really well, but she wanted to be mentored by me, but she didn't let me know that up front. And she wanted to do a bunch of other stuff. And I kind of got rid of her. Or we decided to split ways, but I haven't found a really good assistant like that can keep all of this crazy organized.
Well, it's hard whenever you're visionary and you're doing this type of volume. It's a lot of moving pieces you got going on, and it's almost like you need the personal assistant. Probably need someone just to take stuff off your plate all the time, and then your integrator is the same way on the business level, right? Just
I have a lot of even crazier ideas. Again, I'm a visionary. I can see 10 steps ahead. I have a bunch of multi-million-dollar ideas in my head, but I have been a self-motivator for the past 3 years. I don't really have like Templeton has and all these guys have people building each other up, hyping each other up. And I haven't had that. And I'm pretty sure if I had that and had that around me, I would be even 100 steps further than I am right now. But again, I'm a self-motivator. I've been a lone wolf type of guy for pretty much all my life. But I know if I want to get to that freaking 8-figure, 9-figure level that I need a strong team around me that's going to be able to get me there.
That's amazing. So an integrator and a personal assistant. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I was talking to Andrew LeBaron, and I think you were working on some sort of commercial building up in Pine Top or something at one time.
We have a hotel up in Pine Top.
That's what it was. Okay. And same type of format for like behavioral health, or?
It was behavioral health. So, I mean, right now, the properties that I'm most interested in, just because I don't know the market, I'm not really buying. I do know a lot of people renting, and I am playing the middle guy. I mean,
I love that
middleman. If you have a property that you can't move, that sounds good for this, I can pay you a little bit extra. I'm going to make my end on it and then give it to the person that I know. But right now, multifamily is what interests me the most. I talked with Bryant today at an event that I went to, and he has a very interesting property. But multifamily, the more heads that you could put under one roof, the better, because as you can imagine, I have 30 properties, 60 properties, a vehicle at each one. Every house that you get, I have to hire 3 people, the wear and tear, all of this stuff.
Wow.
The overhead is completely cut down on multifamily. And I know there's some, Eric Sage brought a property. He had a property that had a commercial property with multifamily property attached to it. I was like, give it to me. I want it. And then, but that would have been freaking perfect. I'm arbitraging a 8 units from JR Piper right now. and it's
Oh,
2
yeah.
bedrooms and 8 each unit. And I rented it out to another company, and I just, they were belated. They're loving it. I'm making money on it, not having to do anything. And, but there's a lot of companies out there right now looking for multifamily.
That's great. I love that. I love the middleman idea. Like that's kind of like I would rather just get one check than a bunch trying to hunt down cash from everyone, sometimes too. So I love all the different ideas and the different ways you're doing this. The arbitrage is so important because in the creative real estate realm, one of the things I always try to tell people is you can make money. You can make money doing this without even owning the property. You don't have to own these. You can just control them. Control without ownership.
I'm also doing right now. We have 4 Airbnbs that we're arbitraging. So
yeah,
there's multiple things that you guys can do. The traveling nurse, the corporate housing, the student housing. There's a lot of different things out there. And the arbitrage, when you come to a point and you have a good track record, if there's a buy and hold guy out there, an investor that owns a bunch of properties, they would rather rent to one person than 20 tenants. They want to make sure that they're getting guaranteed money the first of the month from one person rather than chasing down 20 people, not knowing if they're going to get paid or not. So get these buy and hold guys, these investors, and show them your vision. I tell these guys, like, I have a company that wants to see these guys do better. We're their next step in their journey, and everybody wants to be a part of something greater than themselves. They want to be able to help something. So if they could be a part of that, then they will. And if they're helping somebody through you, then it's a bigger
the sheer numbers of 19 million their first year, almost doubling it the second year. This is just it's almost hard for some of us to imagine it, but it's amazing at the same time. So it's just really cool to see how you're using this arbitrage model in so many ways. Jay, I see your hands up. Did you have another question?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go look at a property. It was supposed to be tomorrow, but just like I got switched to Friday, and it's already operational. It has senior care, elderly living there, right? The cash flow is pretty good, but I got to buy close, just under retail, whatever. So my question is, I see that they have sprinkler system, like a fire and hazard, in those properties that you're arbitrage, since you don't own them. Is the sober living kind of a similar way, or is that different? It doesn't need that.
I just finally got my first address passed in Peoria, and normally out here in Arizona for 10 people, it's called a community residence, is what they consider a sober living. And normally you don't need fire sprinklers, but to my surprise, Peoria said, yes, we'll let you have it if you put fire sprinklers in. So sober livings normally don't need fire sprinklers for 10 people, but if you're doing over that 5 number for residential properties, if you're doing inpatient, you need fire sprinklers. For assisted living homes and group homes, all of those, they're considered inpatient because the program is done inside of the home and they stay there for the majority of the time, and the services are provided there. So you do need fire sprinklers. For the model that I am doing with providing supportive housing, you don't need the fire sprinklers. You said this property was in California?
No, it's here in Arizona. I'm gonna look at one tomorrow or Friday.
You're buying it?
Yeah, so they're gonna allow me to do financing. It's like a regular
seller financing.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that. I want to make that approach because it looks like it could be. It's kind of like when we go after the wholesalers go after tired landlords. Right, absentees, whatever. It's kind of the same idea. They're just probably tired of running the business, so it's going to come and take over. And so so I have someone that's licensed realtor and has been doing this for about 20 years, 15, 20 years. And the whole idea was that, how did I find him? LinkedIn somehow. I re-engaged the conversation. I re-engaged the connection with this person after over 3 years. Still on my phone, right? I just never called him back. And very helpful. Nice guy, Filipino, has like 7 kids, and he says that ever since he stopped transactional, not stopped, but started focusing on cash flow, and he found this niche, it took off, and he's not in the millionaire type, like not doing 20 million, but it's just the difference in both is having something coming in every month versus trying to go after and chase all these sellers or whatever, get deals. It's all good, but like I just it's interesting that no one knows about this property. I'm gonna go see it. I don't know if you show other people, but it's like the cash flow is really good, you know.
My question is, are you keeping the operator in place? Or are you taking over as the operator? Potentially, would they stay in place, or would you be taking over the operations?
I don't know the answer because I want to go and ask all the questions when I get there. If I'm going to be the one that's going to do that, or if the person that's there is going to continue to do that. So when Brandon Simmons said, well, what about seller financing, right? Like I haven't talked about that yet. So like that's going to be, I like to be in person. I don't want to just do it over the phone. This individual is already doing this. He's pretty much helping me. I don't know what if he's getting money or he's going to be real estate agent, I don't know, whatever, but like, I'm interested in this, and I've been wanting to do this because the cash flow seems better, but you have to follow these rules. And I think that once you get a few past your belt, then you just keep finding the next opportunity in place and you just keep replicating. So like, I'm going to find that out. I'll find that out Friday.
So the questions that you want to ask, because a lot of these guys that are trying to sell their assisted living, they're trying to sell the business with it. The most important question is, what insurances are you with now? Who are you in network with? What insurances are you in network with? That's going to be the most valuable part of that business. And
when you say insurance, what type? Like homeowner insurance or like medical?
No, medical. For their assisted the medical insurance. What medical insurance are they able to take right now that they're paneled with, that they're in network with? And in the paperwork, you have to put in the paperwork that they're going to walk with you. You have to do your due diligence, make sure that all of the licenses can be transferred over to you, and that they're going to walk with you and make sure that all of that is set in stone before the deal is done. Because I've seen some people get screwed at the last minute. They didn't do due diligence on seeing exactly what insurances that they had. And these guys that are trying to get $300,000 for some work that would take you 3 months to get, it's not, you weigh it out there. Do you want instant gratification for $300,000, or do you want to take the time and do it yourself in 3 months?
Exactly. So all the questions are going to come up when I get there, and I'm going to go view the property, view how the operation is going, see if they have the licenses on like when you walk in, they have all that on the what do you call it, on the wall, right? And I already went to one last week, but they wasn't for sale. I just went to go take a peek at one and see if I can, instead of buying the property, just take the business, right? So we're talking about that. And he's also done the same thing, arbitraging, partnering, whatever you want to call it, with the owner and the property. And so he's buying the business off them rather than buying the property. But it just opens up a new world for me, because I don't really want to be transactional for the rest of my life. I'd rather be in the world of that side, understand, everything about it, and basically either buy a property or just buy the business. And like you said, Patrick, you gotta understand enough of those things and ask questions about it, because I don't want to get stuck with it, and then I'm backpedaling and I got nowhere else to go, right? I don't want to come to that position, but I'm pretty sure they're not gonna screw me over like that. This guy has a good reputation.
Yep. Patrick, I was just thinking, this is really, you got several businesses here. You have the arbitrage real estate business, you have the sober living homes, you have the behavioral health homes, and you have another business where you're doing the middleman arbitrage too. Just curious, because one of the things that's just, you said you also have to do Airbnbs. What about like student housing? Is this a way you can possibly arbitrage and possibly do student housing in certain areas where there's colleges or universities? Could it work in a similar way where they're paying like by month or bi-weekly?
100%. One of the investors I found, I went on a Facebook group looking at student housing because I knew they were willing to let multiple people rent out their houses. So I hit up a few of those guys, and one of them is I now have 3 of his properties. He's now one of my investors, and that's how I found him. But that is a good way if you're next to a college and you can put in some cases you can still put 2 beds to a room. It's almost the same as a dorm, but they're just not on site. But the way I pitch this, guys, is that if they're renting their property out, let's say they're renting their property out for $3,000, just, hey, what's going on? My name is Patrick. I see that you're renting your property out for $3,000. What if I paid you $33,000? Now they're or $3,300. I'm sorry, $3,300. Would you be interested? Now they're willing to listen to you. And then you kind of just go in there. Hey, I'm a company that wants to give these guys a second chance. I rent out multiple properties. The good thing about me, I pay on the 1st of the month, and you're not going to get a phone call from me at 3 o'clock in the morning. All of the maintenance to the house, if something goes down, if the toilet goes bad, I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. You're not going to get a phone call from me. Anything up to, let's say, $700, I'll take care of. But of course, and then you kind of joke with them. But if the AC goes out, you'll be getting a call from me, type of thing. And just let them know, think as a landlord, what would you want to hear as a landlord? You're not going to get a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning. This guy's reputable. He's going to pay me on the 1st of the month. He's going to pay me more money than I was asking for. And the house is going to be upkept. So just think like a landlord. Think of the things that you would like to hear as a landlord and present those things. And again, people want to be a part of something greater than themselves. So then you go, I'm helping these guys get to the next level in their lives. They don't have good credit. They don't have a lot of money for a down payment and deposit right now. So I give them the opportunity to get to that next step. That's the way I go about this, guys. And a lot of people, you'd be surprised in the beginning. I wasn't saying just that. All people were hearing is like, you're going to rent my house to 10 drug addicts. And it was all that. Now it's a better position, and there's a better way. There's veteran homes, guys. There's battered women shelters. There's domestic violence houses. There's kid homes. Whatever your passion is, whatever your heart feels, and whatever you want to get involved in, there's a direction that you guys can go to be bigger, to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And now you have a purpose, and you're doing good in other people's lives. And again, with the go-giver mentality, as long as you're giving back, not expecting anything in return, your life flourishes. And that's been my experience the entire time.
This is great. I appreciate you coming on here today. And I was just doing some quick math. Just if you decided to do like the sober living homes or the just rent by the bed, say you put 2 beds in a room, at $175 a week, that's about $700 a month per tenant.
Per tenant, yes. So
yeah,
I mean,
so
full house, you're getting $7,000.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, you can afford to pay some utilities and internet or something, I'm sure. So,
And the great thing, guys, my manager who oversees those houses, their chores are every single day. So they are cleaning the kitchen, they're cleaning their rooms, they're doing the yard work, they're doing anything that my manager asked them. They're upkeeping these houses to look pristine. You can walk into any one of my houses and it's going to look beautiful. It's going to look clean. It's teaching them stability. It's teaching them how to acclimate back into life. And it's also upkeeping your property.
Well, this is amazing. The biggest thing, the reason why I wanted you on here so much, because my passion is creative real estate. And one of the things I really want people to understand is there's a lot of different ways to get involved with creative real estate. And this is one of the simplest ways. Like you said that you got into your first house with $5,000 and, turn it into basically this empire. And this is where I think all of us are going to hopefully think about some ideas, or hopefully going to have trouble sleeping at night and have the wheels spinning a little bit about all the different things they can do. And I know like Sam, I'm going to pick on Sam for a second, if that's okay. I don't know if your wife's around, Sam, but I know one of the things that she's passionate about is like domestic violence help and stuff like that. Hey, there she is, Tiana. Hey, is this something that the idea of arbitraging something that you don't even own and helping out people in like a battered shelter, a woman's shelter, or something like that? Is this an idea that you might be able to kind of implement that way, possibly? You're muted though, I think.
Yeah, I would like to. I was actually just kind of trying to get more familiar about like Section 8, domestic violence, safe houses. There's different types of like shelters and things like that, and allowing properties to be available like to the government and different systems. And so, yeah, I'm trying to learn more about that. So for sure.
This is great.
There's a lot of people out there that set their sober living company up as a nonprofit company. And then you can have access to grants, you can have access to government, state funding, and do things along those lines as well. Within my sober living currently, right now I work with 6 different 3 of them are nonprofits, other 3 are bigger companies. They send me clients and they pay for them. So I don't have to run after them. They're paying me.
Wow.
The companies are paying me. The nonprofits get very large grants for housing, and they need to find housing. CBI is a big one that we work with, and the shelter Cast Downtown. They need to find housing, and they have housing vouchers, and they have so much money to provide housing. So I have a relationship with them where they send me these guys and they pay for their housing for a limited time, like maybe 2 to 3 months, but that gives that guy an opportunity to get a job, stack some money, and either go out on his own or start paying rent on his own.
Oh, this is terrific. There's so many avenues to use it. And I like the idea of the nonprofits because I'm sure that there's businesses out there that would love to support nonprofits by providing housing or toiletries or ascendaries or food or stuff like that, I'm sure.
There's a guy out here, and this guy is, when I speak to this guy, it just gets the wheels turning, man. But his is set up as a nonprofit, and he's next to a college. He went to the college. Now the college people, some of the teachers and the students come and teach trades like technology, agriculture, teach some of those things. And then they have a connection with the local school where he's able to go to these local schools, provide services to those local schools. And he's able to use their classrooms. He's with the YMCA. They let his clients come there for free, work out for free.
Wow.
He just got donated a box truck. All of the food companies in that area donate to him. He provides 3 meals a day. This guy, he's doing a lot more crazier stuff than that, but and all of this is given to him. And of course, with being a nonprofit, you can definitely be on payroll and make some kind of income on being a nonprofit.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to be broke, right? You don't have to. Jay has a question, but before we go to Jay, if there's someone asked if there's a way for them to contact you, or if you want to share any of your information on if anyone wants to reach out to you or contact you with anything, if they have an integrator or a assistant or a property or something, is there a best way for them to reach out to you?
I used to give out my phone number, but that got kind of crazy. So on all social medias, guys, I'm the Sober Investor on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the Sober Investor. And I would love to talk to you guys. Where'd he go? Jay, if you need me to get on a phone call with you to ask some of those questions, I'm willing. I'm also doing consulting, guys, locally, and I'm a part of a huge community. I have people reaching out to me from all over the country. I'm helping somebody set up a clinic and an IOP in Washington, in Georgia, in Ohio, Florida. I'm helping them create what I've done out there. Of course, there is some getting used to. They have different regulations, but I have the blueprint and I have the gist of how to do it. And I'm very good at networking. And I'm also consulting. So if this is something you guys want a JV on, you want some consulting, whatever the case is, if this is something that you guys are interested in, please reach out to me. We can definitely work something out.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, did you have a question? We're at the top of the hour, so we'll wrap up here shortly, but go ahead, Jay, if you had a question.
So are you, is the company C Corp or is it what do you call it, 501c or is it an LLC?
Which one are we talking about?
The sober living.
My sober living is a for-profit. My behavioral health homes are for-profit, but I'm also the president and founder of a nonprofit called Soul Revival Inc. And that one is 501c3. But we do provide, we tried and it didn't work out too well. We were providing, we were trying to get the chronically homeless off of the streets. That one was a little bit more difficult where we were just providing free housing. But with my network of real estate guys, when they get a house and there's furniture left behind, you can go ahead and call me. We go pick it up and we refurbish that and give it to a family in need. We're furnishing about 2 apartments a week right now. And then we have a food pantry that's open once a week. Today it was open. We actually had our largest day. We fed over 100 people came to our food pantry today. It was pretty awesome.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, he told me some of the story when I was face to face with him. So I meant what I mean is, so you got multiple entity names, but they're LLCs or they're corporations?
My personal one for the sober livings, I have that one set up as they're all S corps, not C corps. They're all S corps.
Okay, that's what I wanted. Okay.
This is beautiful. But everyone, I hope everyone can see that there's so much opportunity out there, that there's so many ways to, make money in this business. Patrick, thanks for sharing that. Just check out Patrick on Instagram or Facebook on the Sober Investor. As you can tell, he has a heart of gold, but we're both okay making money too. That's fine. But what I realize is it's a magnifier of who you are. It just allows Patrick to do so much more for other people too. And he really is a go-giver. I recommend checking him out. Again, I mean, think about these numbers going from waiting tables, right? Well, working in some sober living homes, and then first year making 19 million gross, almost doubling that the second year. I mean, this is an amazing opportunity, and that's in the niche of sober living, right? There's other niches out there like we talked about. So there's so many ways that you can arbitrage these properties. You can have double up people in bedrooms and charge weekly rent or by the month, and it's beautiful. I love this. Any questions before we wrap up from anyone? Well, Patrick, thanks again for jumping on here. Everyone, I hope you got some value from this interview with Patrick. And I know that my brain is kind of thinking about a bunch of ideas right now. So
perfect.
Yeah,
Again,
definitely.
thank you, Brandy, man. I always appreciate you having me on here, and I love to be a part of the community. And thank you guys again. Reach out to me if you guys need to. I'm willing to give you as much information as that you're willing to hear. So
bye, everybody.